Welcome to this week's episode of The Sacred Path. I am your guide, Rothi Midran Apkalu. Today we will be addressing an important issue in today's spiritual world, the truth and illusions of the higher realms and spirituality and the people of the spiritual world. In my practice, I deal with people on a daily basis who come to me with potential attachments, both energetic and spiritual in nature, and even implants or alien devices that they fear may be existing within them. Let me say, first of all, the amount of people who come to me that truly have demonic spirits or attachments are very, very small percentage. You see, in the spiritual world, much the same as the religious or political world around us, a majority of its teachings are based on fear. Take it from me, someone who has dedicated their life to the realms of spirit and high magic. Almost across the board, demons do not answer to the call of mortal man. For any higher spirit, be they good or evil, to respond to man, the man must command it. Higher spirits do not answer to lesser beings, and let's be honest. Stop fooling yourself. Very few of us incarnate are powerful enough to be more powerful than and be able to command a higher spirit, entity, or demon. I don't care if you think you're Christ conscious, the incarnate of Archangel Michael, or Lucifer. In fact, the next person who tells me they're Lucifer, I'm going to ask them to manifest fire in front of me from their bare hands, or be gone from my reality. I'm tired of the illusions and delusions. We'll be addressing that more later. I have many who come to me saying that they are either the incarnation of a powerful entity or deity, or else possessed by a demon. Everyone who has come to me claiming to be a god or deity has been delusional with the same backstory, struggling for many years, continuing a repeating cycle of abuse, and looking for an external source to empower them and make them feel like they are not weak. When the truth of the matter is, the problem is within. I know many of you will say, I didn't choose my encounters. I was born into it. But the truth of the matter is, you did choose to accept it and continue residing in it by not moving along to a better one. The same situation goes for bad jobs, abusive relationships, or anything else. You can only change what you take responsibility for. Blaming the outside world is not taking responsibility, so it will not allow you to overcome it. As for those who claim to be possessed by demons, it's a similar situation. Dysfunction, struggle, lack of energy or motivation, and looking for an external source for the problem. Because it couldn't be me. All is free will in this realm we exist in. Any force only has the authority you grant it. There is truth in the old myth in movies that vampires and demons cannot cross a threshold without being invited. Although the stakes they show in the movies would never be able to puncture past the ribcage and into the heart, which is required to kill a vampire. But that's for another episode, perhaps. In truth, it requires 6.5-inch length to puncture the heart. This is the reason the military Sykes Fairburn dagger used in World War II had a 6 5/8-inch blade, so sentries could use it for puncturing the heart in tactical situations. Angels and helper spirits do respond more willingly, answering to prayers, etc. But the divine spirits and entities are honestly very busy, quite possibly almost not quite as busy as the demonic spirits seem to be in this realm, but nonetheless, they do have many requests to respond to, which is another reason why a person cannot be an incarnate higher life form, as many claim to be. These spirits and beings have work to do, very important work. that requires a great deal of time and commitment. Do you really think Archangel Michael has nothing better to do than sit on Facebook and troll people? I think not. Well, it's possible for a person to channel an entity, deity, spirit, or whatever. It has been proven that most mediums are frauds. Another great falsehood in the spiritual world is that of alien descent. Well, it is theoretically possible for an incarnate human to be of non-Earth origin in a past life or different incarnation, potentially even as a walk-in in this existence. The simple fact is, if you are in a human body and residing on the planet Earth, you are a human. Unless you can physically transport yourself to your beloved home planet, you're still a human. Just another person looking into the abyss, trying to find a way to feel like they belong. I know, I didn't feel like I belonged here. Still don't many times. Then I look at the amount of programming and brainwashing that the average person receives nowadays, and has for quite some time. And I realize very few people are true to themselves. Few even know who or what they actually are, which is actually the subject of today's show. Speaking of not belonging, another topic I mentioned is that of implants and alien programming. Allow me to clarify. Well, I don't believe any humans are aliens. I do believe there are beings that do exist and are not human. In fact, as I mentioned in an earlier episode, I've met some of them from Inner Earth, Agartha, the ant people they are known as. Yes, there is alien technology that can be used to manipulate mankind on an individual or group basis. In truth, if my sources are correct, and I have no reason to doubt them because they've not been proven wrong yet, all of our advanced technology is of alien origin, specifically from the Zeta Reticuli, those we know as the Greys, which are known for abducting humans and doing testing on them, who have provided it to our government as a part of an exchange program. Many of the implants that are taught in the spiritual world, even the well-known ones such as the Jehovian seals and Anunnaki death seals, are in fact only real because of the faith and belief that so many give them. They were created by the collective consciousness of man. In fact, many spiritual masters of long ago existed after these implants were supposed to have been installed. They knew nothing about them and still became masters. So you do the math and figure it out. It's more fear-based conditioning and programming from the spiritual and religious world. As for the other alien implants, these advanced species have better things to do than limit the abilities who are usually already struggling. If an advanced civilization is going to do testing on humans, wouldn't they choose the wisest people? Albert Einstein was never abducted. Leonardo da Vinci never claimed to be abducted. Maybe Donald Trump might have been, but that's a different story. Their objective is to find out our potential. One can only do this by choosing the top people for evaluation and testing. And let's be honest, how many highly intellectual, respected people speak of being abducted or tested on? Very few, if any, that I know of. One of the core issues I've found that many people misguided are not only in the receiving end, but also those presenting themselves as healers. Partly because of the aforementioned delusional mentality, many have believed they are ascended entities, or from Pleiades, a planet which is theoretically known as carrying that of healers. Many are portraying themselves as healers without truly having the abilities. Some even appear to be misguided and misdirected and actually working on the opposite end of the spectrum. A good potential they're working with malevolent spirits, presenting themselves as divine, as I've seen several cases of this occurring. Often I have people come to me after working with other shamans, healers, or energy workers, finding more problems than they had before they went for this healing, often after paying out large sums of money, often well above $100, sometimes into the thousands. This happens not only with healers and energy workers, but also with spiritual work and exorcisms. In fact, more often, there are very few that seem to have the true ability to exorcise and command demons, especially since most of these demons are created in the mind of the person. You can't eliminate something from the mind of a person unless that person's mind chooses to eliminate it. It seems that greed, corruption, and the judgment of dogmatic religions has infiltrated the spiritual world just as much as the other branches of command and control. Do your research. There are many claiming the impossible. I know of one who their guide they channeled claimed to be ascended to the level of 15,000 strands of DNA. This is not only improbable, but downright impossible. Much like the secret chiefs who are supposed to be the ascended guides for the Golden Dawn. Nothing more than lies, all of it. While we are on the subject of illusions of this realm, let's address our calendar and the fact the entire basis of astrology and our planetary influences in magic, Earth-based magic, is all based on our calendar, which is Roman in origin, but stolen and adopted from the Sumerian teachings. The days of the week were based on the perceived distance from Earth as viewed by Sumerian astronomers. It not only includes planets, but also the sun and moon as planetary bodies. The first day of the week is attributed to the sun, seen as the largest planetary body as seen from the Earth. The sun is the energy of life, so Sunday is attributed to solar energy, the divine light of creation and divinity. The next planet in our week and the next planetary body is the moon, which is reflecting the energy of the sun. The moon or moon day is symbolic in astrology of our shadow self or reflection. And the sun is connected to fire and masculine energy. The moon is connected to feminine energy and intuition, because intuition is reflected from within, much the same as the light of the sun is reflected by the moon. Mars is the next planet, and actually the first true planet, attributed to Tuesday, the energy of war. 2 was the Roman god of war. Mars is a red planet, red being the color of blood, which is why Mars and Tuesday are attributed to war energy. Wednesday, or should I say Wednesday, is attributed to divine wisdom and the All-Father, Odin, because the Romans wanted to infiltrate the Viking and the Druidic societies, so they adopted their dames and their deities into the days of the week in order to adopt to their culture and be accepted. There are theories, in fact, that the cross is an adaptation of an old version of Thor's hammer. Its planetary influence is Mercury, believed to be the divine messenger by Romans. This planet is related to knowledge because of it being the closest to the sun, therefore having the most divine energy, and the fact that it is also a much faster orbit because of the gravitational force of it and its proximity to the sun. Energy and knowledge traveling very quickly and being very efficient. Thursday, or should I say Thursday, is next, related to Jupiter. This is related to protection, mostly because it is a very large planet that is right next to our planet. Physically, it protects the Earth from many asteroids and comets, and protection we think of mass and size. Venus, the next planet, the Roman goddess of love, is for Friday, named Friday after the Norse goddess Freya. Venus is the brightest body in the sky, other than the sun and the moon. This brightness and the fact that it's orbiting in the opposite, this brightness is the reason why it is attributed to the fire of passion. The reason that it is I believe it is connected to feminine energy is because the other planets in our solar system all rotate the opposite direction of Venus. Venus being the only planet that rotates counterclockwise, therefore being the only planet also that is feminine energy. The final planet and day is Saturn Day, or should I say Saturn Day, tributed to Saturn, because it is a gas giant and the furthest from Earth of ancient times and original